Tudo bem, dinguses. That's Portuguese for help. They're watching me. Thanks for coming to watch my YouTube video. I live in a college dorm apartment, and last night at about 11 o'clock, a group of guys busted out of their dorm. Busted out? A dorm of guys came outside and they started blasting music from a karaoke machine. It went on for like half an hour, and more people went outside and started singing along, so it just got louder and louder. And you know what? I should be more fun and more outgoing and not a grouch about those kinds of things. But like, it's almost midnight. I'm tired. I just want to relax. I hate college students. On a completely unrelated note, when was the last time you played a .io game? For me, it was last night. I was playing Agar, shaking my fist and gritting my teeth as California Girls was being blasted just 20 feet away. That experience was certainly unforgettable. But for most, I'm sure it's been some time. I don't think I'm alone in saying that .io games were like the lifeblood of my elementary and middle school experience. I remember we'd all be playing one game during class, and eventually that game would get banned and another game would take its place like a phoenix rising from the ashes. Anyway, I've fallen down a rabbit hole of playing .io games that I used to love, and I wanted to talk about them with you guys and maybe make some friends along the way. The first game I wanted to play, and basically the entire reason I made this video, is Slither.io. And yes, I say .io because I want to. And if you don't like that, I'm really sorry. I hope it doesn't impact your viewing experience. Slither.io is a true classic among all the crappy new games, a Monet in the MoMA, if you will. The game loop is pretty simple. You eat dots, get bigger, kill another player, feel really cool as you eat them up, die in a stupid way, and then restart the cycle of life in your frustration. I actually do think that this game is pretty rad. It seems to be one of the only ones that isn't completely full of bots, although there's still plenty. And it's a lot faster paced than some of the other games I'm gonna go over today. That's why I started with it. There's a couple of main strategies that I use. The first one is, I call it the AFK fake out. To do this strategy, you just don't touch the keyboard at all. It only really works when you first spawn in, but to someone else, it looks like you're just not moving. Okay, you know what? I think a demonstration might be better here.
In the throes of the Serengeti, an infant snake is born and thrust into an unforgiving world where it is eat or be eaten. Though unassuming in appearance, the snake is born with killer instincts and immediately employs a hunting strategy. To a predator, he bears the likeness of an AFK snake. Thinking they've come across an easy meal, the snake goes for an attack. Little do they know, they've fallen right into a deadly trap. The newly born snake strikes back, and caught in surprise, it is too late for the larger snake to react. The newly born snake feasts on its unfortunate prey. Perhaps he will rise to the top of this brutal food chain.
Spoiler alert, I did not. And in all honesty, this strategy is only somewhat useful since it only really works when you first spawn in, and my success rate with it was underage. Another classic move is the Slither Snare, which isn't the official name, but I adore alliteration, so. And the real name I found on Reddit was boring, which, yeah. Unsurprisingly, there's a weirdly large and active Reddit for Slither.io. Anyway, for the Slither Snare, you just completely circle another player and slowly inch in on them until they inevitably headbutt your abdomen, and you just reap the rewards. What? And then you get to eat their dots. What on earth, dude? Also, when a snake dies, especially a big one, a feeding frenzy ensues, and it is bloody. Every snake just wants to taste them sweet dots. But you know what they say? Karma comes in like
Miley Cyrus.
And now there's more food for the pile. You know, I say this like I'm any better. This was my main cause of death when playing this game. Stupidly dashing into another snake while trying to fill my gluttonous belly that, let's be honest, would never be satisfied. Also, people's names crack me up. Imagine being so politically or religiously inclined and thinking, man, I really love this thing or that thing. I wish there was a way I could show my love for it to the rest of the world. I know. Yeah. The first couple of rounds went okay. I had a really good start with the AFK strategy, and then I got another guy pretty smoothly, but I just kept getting greedy and dying. I eventually added winner to my name, which unsurprisingly worked, and I got on the leaderboard for about 5 seconds. So I've achieved bliss and we're moving on. The next game I played was a personal pick of mine, and one that I don't really know how popular it is or ever was, but I played it as a kid and I like sea creatures, so we're going over it. Right off the bat, this one was rough. When I tried to play, the game just telling me I couldn't connect it to the server, and I had this sinking feeling, pun intended, that I would never get to play this game, a game that was so dear to me, ever again. And then I tried the South America server, and that worked. So in honor of it, we're playing with the Piranha. This game follows a pretty cliche game loop in the .io sphere of eating dots and then evolving in some way. But it sets itself apart by doing basically nothing different and being just as annoying as the other .io games. Hey, but there's some cool fish though. This game really does follow the tried and true Michelin star recipe of eat and upgrade. And you know, I'm here for it. Every time you level up, you get to pick a new fish or somewhat sea-related creature, kind of, to evolve into, each with its own benefits and drawbacks. This can be super fun, and it's super satisfying to watch your progression happening in real time. Here, I just kept picking the upgrade option where you get another piranha, but there's tons of paths, and I tried a few of the other ones too. Sadly, this upgrade system is only really fun in concept, but in practice, I have a plethora of issues with it, which I have made into a nice and tidy list to go over. For each issue that I have with the game, though, I have provided an easy and reasonable fix, constructive criticism. Number 1, there's too much information and too little time. In the brutal world of Finding Nemo, every moment counts. One wrong move and you'll be... Okay. The script says to say sleeping with the fishes with a New York accent, but I refuse to do that. So one wrong move and you'll be dead. Well, let's keep it simple. You'll die. To that end, when a list of 9 options pops up on my screen, I don't really have the time to move my mouse over each of them individually and read about their stats. Even if you did look at all of them, it's hard to make sense of any of it. Luckily, I learned pretty quickly that all of the creatures could easily be summarized by coming soon, which began to feel more and more ominous, as if all the fish were slowly encroaching on my position, waiting for the time to strike. That's besides the point. The point is, I have no idea what each upgrade does, and I have no time to figure it out. My proposed fix: give fewer upgrade options and lock the player into upgrade paths. Less options means less sensory overload. Or they could do what like Creature.io does and give the player some invulnerability as they level up, Food for thought. My second big complaint is there's no rhyme or reason to the upgrades. Why does a squid evolve into a seagull? Why does a ray evolve into a penguin? How does that make any sense? Can you imagine if Charles Darwin played this game? He'd probably think, what is this weird moving image in front of me? But after he got over himself, I'm sure he'd also complain about the nonsensical upgrade system. This is just annoying to me because it really ruins the sense of progression. There's no logic to state that a penguin is better than an octopus, so I don't feel like I'm getting better as I upgrade. But Deep.io doesn't care. Deep.io just takes what it wants. This issue is at its worst when you upgrade only to get smaller than what you were before. Like, I know logically size doesn't equal power, but it'd be nice to have some visual indication of how strong your character is. My fix: give fewer upgrade options and lock the player into upgrade paths. That way the game can facilitate the progression a bit more and it won't feel as random. My last complaint is the game just isn't that fun. This point is in no way constructive and really just my own opinion. My fix: give fewer upgrade options and lock the player... I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. No, I only say this because there's really not that much to do in this game. You collect dots and upgrades, but it doesn't really feel like there's a purpose to it. And then in the end, you always just die to someone who's better than you anyway. The fights are one note and don't involve much skill. And then dying sends you back to start all over again, so that's fun. The game loop was so dull, I found myself playing games to keep it more interesting. My personal favorite was holding my breath whenever my character was underwater. It gave it this really fun reverse Sword Art Online feel where you don't die in the game, but you do die in real life. Overall, this game was entertaining, but not actually very fun to play. I give it a 20 out of 20,000 leagues under the sea. Next up on the roster is the most famous and maybe most popular .io game, Agar. But I gotta come clean to you guys. I have no idea why this game is so popular. I went into this video not liking Agar, and I came out of it also not liking Agar, but I feel more justified in it now. This game, like the others, has a very simple premise that should be familiar at this point. Start small, eat the dots, get bigger, kill other players. Simple. But there's one glaring difference between Agar.io and Slither. If you're smaller, you can't kill bigger players. And even worse than that, if two blobs are about the same size, neither of you could kill each other. I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that this has such a negative impact on the gameplay. Let me just show you an example, okay? Right here, me and Badissi get into a conflict, as I often do with Badussis. Yet, despite my intense desire to just devour this Badussi, we literally can't hurt each other without slowly meandering away to eat dots and grow first. So slowly. Holy crap, you move at a snail's pace in this game. With zero way of getting a speed boost, too. You do move faster the smaller you are, which seems nice at first, but quickly becomes infuriating as you realize you can't outspeed any of your prey. That means you have one last option to attack. By hitting the spacebar, you can split your blob apart and launch half of yourself forward. This is great for munching on some scrubs, but it leaves you super vulnerable because it takes a second for your body to merge back together. To that end, there is a bit of complexity when it comes to attacking or playing defensive, but in the end, it doesn't really matter because a bigger dot will always come in to eat your hopes and dreams. To the credit of Agar, there is one mechanic that I really like, and it's these spiky green balls. Once you get big enough, you can eat them, and they do give a bonus to your size, your points, but they also involuntarily split you up into like 8 or 9 other guys. High risk, high reward, because it makes you super vulnerable to attacks from other players. But that's not the best part. The best part is you can fire off little chunks of yourself into these green things, and if you do it enough, they have a baby. Weird Agar pregnancy birth aside, this is actually pretty cool because you can launch it towards bigger players and then break them up as a way to attack them. Cool stuff, but this is still silver lining on a game that is unbelievably dull. Along with that, I noticed that this is one of the games that had the biggest bot problems. It seems like some people's strategy is to just summon a bunch of bots that sacrifice themselves to that player. It reminds me of that scene from How to Train Your Dragons where they're all feeding the volcano. I had a pretty good run going here, actually. There was this cool moment where I was split up, so I couldn't eat this MK Ultra dude. But with some finesse, I managed to corner him against these green spikes and merge, just barely making me big enough to consume him. It was very cool. I honestly didn't hate the game for that moment. Outside of that, though, I was unimpressed and never revisited Agar in my own time. If it's one of your favorites and I'm not doing it justice, I know that I probably didn't get the full Agar experience, but I don't have the energy to play it until I do. Moving on to one of the best games on this list. Moo Moo was so much more than I could have hoped for. I want to explain the base mechanics of the game, but the story that follows is something truly special. Moo Moo is a basic survival game where you smack rocks and trees, slowly leveling up. This is measured by an age meter at the bottom of the screen, which I'm actually not a fan of because now I feel like a manic 10-year-old using traps to mutilate a bull. Anyway, it's pretty straightforward. You get to pick different items at each upgrade, all good fun. But that's not all because Moo Moo has teams. Dear Dinguses, please welcome the Mini-Maddox Claymore. He is my brother, and I thought I'd invite him because I wanted to spice things up. We named our tribe Slayers, which I'm not proud of, but it's a name from when we were kids, and blood is stronger than YouTube likes or something. Also, there's a ton of these Mo bots on Moomoo.io that just spam random chats, one of which includes a very, very not good word, so just try to ignore them. All right, let's go. Our round started just like any other. We met up, found a rock and a tree next to each other and started hammering away for some resources. It's hard but honest work, and we just wanted a safe place to live. Immediately, the hardships of life in Moo Moo made themselves apparent. A bull came charging towards our meager 2-year-old characters, but we were no noobs and cleverly used the rock and brush to prevent the bull's attack. Although violent, this is a world that rewards taking drastic measures, so with only slight remorse, I put down the bull. Its flesh would feed me for ages to come. I didn't enjoy needlessly killing, but it had to be done. Interestingly, as I was striking at the bull, I noticed a request on my screen. Another player by the name of Gold wished to join the Slayers tribe. How unforeseen. My mind raced through the pros and cons of accepting a stranger into our humble tribe. On one hand, Gold might be able to offer us reprieve by providing materials or a base. And on the other hand, they could just as easily betray us and take our meek lives. We decided to let them in. We needed all the help we could get if we truly wanted to survive in this world. I continued to hammer away, collecting as many resources as possible, but I noticed a gray dot on my map inching closer. It was Gold. They must have been eager to meet us to rush over so quickly. My grip on my polearm tightened as they approached. I had to be ready for conflict.
Sup?
They were peaceful. Not only that, they immediately offered to take us to their base. A better base, they said.
It's Ash Gold.
How befitting of one with that title. Although this could still be a trap, my suspicion of our new tribe mate had dropped dramatically. No one says sup and doesn't mean it. This was a true friend. Without hesitation, we followed Gold, hoping to come into their utopia. This journey was not without its tribulations. We walked along on grassy plains, crossed a raging river, and had another encounter with a feral bull. It seemed scared. Instead of attacking head-on, the bull charged in wide circles. Gold ran away while they had a chance, and Claymore soon followed. But something nagged at me. The bull could always follow us. It could sneak up on us when we least expected it. I needed to kill it. There's no other way. There was no other way, right? I didn't enjoy chasing the bull down to murder it, but I didn't hate it either. I made my way to Golden Claymore. Before long, a structure came to view, and oh my, it was beautiful. Gilded walls meshed with the greenery, a mix of man and nature, and Gold wasn't lying. There truly was a gold outcrop for us to mine. To show my appreciation to Gold, I fortified the entrance with some spikes, and Claymore aptly placed a trap to prevent intruders from coming in. After such a long journey, I had only one thing to say. Feels like home. But something in the back of my mind, that same thing I felt when I was killing those bulls, itched. I noticed a pest by the name of CNNCN running around outside. I swatted them away with hopes that they would never return, but it wasn't so simple. It seems that they too wanted to join the increasingly powerful Slayers clan. It was Gold's base, so I asked what they thought about it. In the back, Claymore cried in protest. We'd already risked letting one person join us. It wasn't worth it to try again, so I declined. Life went on. I slowly grew older as I gathered more resources. Claymore and I had such a beautiful, peaceful life, and it was all by the grace of Gold. Gold, I love you. Not to be dramatic.
What?
Classic Gold. So innocent and confused. They felt like a mentor to me. Can I call you Senpai? Blushes. As more time passed, we continued to grow our base. I eventually put up some stone walls to block every exit except one. One way in, one way out. The base was completely safe. This held true when another bull attacked, but could not beat our impregnable defenses. Without hesitation, Claymore and I placed a trap to kill the bull. It was addicting almost, watching the helpless bull die to my spikes. One of the many great things about Gold's base was that it lay just north of the home of the fearsome Mufi and Mustafa. They were powerful beings who defended their home to the death, but if bested, they would provide much food and money. Money that could be used to buy useful hats and accessories. I went down to assess the situation and found a familiar pest. CNNCN was attacking Mustafa through the wall. I tried to scare them away with swinging at them, but they were undeterred. So instead I tried diplomacy. Peace. CNNCN agreed to a truce. I was fine to leave him be, but that itch returned to my head. I saw him swing at Mustafa over and over, the sound of the polearm hitting flesh. I snapped. CNNCN was no more. Without remorse, I landed the finishing blow against Mustafa and claimed my reward, 8,000 gold coins. Slowly, I went back to my base, to my home. What had I done? Did I just take an innocent life? But CNNCN deserved it, right? He was bothering our tribe from the beginning. I was just protecting Claymore and Gold. My justifications were little consolation, and I had to pour my guilt out. Gold, in their infinite grace, offered a simple gesture of forgiveness.
Okay.
They were so kind. Too kind. I felt much better after confessing to my tribe, but I was scared as well. Scared that that feeling inside of me, that lust for blood, would arise again. Luckily, the chance to further atone for my sins arose when CNNCN came back to our base. "I'm sorry, join us," I yelled, in hopes to get their forgiveness. With that act, another member of the Slayers clan was born, and peace returned to our home. We were all able to work together as a team. It was so nice. But for the final time, that itch returned. Almost against my will, I began to cook up a plan to betray Gold. It would be so easy after all. They were so simple and kind. They wouldn't suspect a thing. I told CNNCN about my plan. "You want in?" Silence. Without a word, they returned to the base. My heart pumped loudly as they did. Would they tell Gold my plan? Would they try and stop me? But instead, without speaking at all, they left. Perhaps the inevitability of what would come was too great for them. They were weak.
I was just doing what needed to be done. Gold was too kind, and their kindness would only be a weakness for our tribe. We were the slayers, after all. It was time. After killing a bull, I asked Gold to come home for a meal.
Okay.
I had bought a special hat just for this, one that would sap my health but increase the damage of my attacks. The bull hat. How fitting that the thing that started my bloodlust would now enhance it. Just as Gold noticed that something was suspicious, I kicked him from our tribe. Claymore and I leaped into action, making sure that Gold didn't have a chance to escape. They pushed against the stone walls that I had built, hoping to run away, but to no avail. Then they pleaded as we attacked, wishing for mercy, for salvation, for grace. But it didn't come. Not from me. Gold swung their axe wildly in defense, but one swift strike with my polearm, and Gold was no more. What have I done? Worse, what have I become? The type of person to attack the innocent? To put my own benefit above others? Gold had done nothing but help us. They had taken us under their wing and provided for us. And this is how I repaid them. I wasn't fit to hold the name of Slayers. I wasn't fit to live in this base. Gold's base. I hid behind the excuse that I was protecting, eliminating weaknesses from the tribe, but I knew it was never true. My guilt overcame me, and I slowly let the bull mask sap my health. It really would have been better if that bull had killed me all that time ago. As I passed, I saw Gold coming back to a base now empty of the greatest evil to ever enter its vicinity. Me.
I don't know about you guys, but I feel like I struck gold with Mumu. 8 out of 10. The gameplay is a little bit slow. The final game on this list is Diep.io, and I'm going to be really honest with you guys. I was ready to absolutely trash on Diep. When I first started playing it, it just felt slow, clunky, and uninteresting. You start out as a little cannon dude just wanting to kill the squares and the triangles and upgrade, but just get blasted by someone on the top of the leaderboard. I wanted to level up and boost my stats and upgrade into different cannons, but it just felt impossible. And by all intents and purposes, the game is still clunky, slow, and uninteresting in that game mode. See, I was playing free-for-all, which is dumb because nothing is free in this world. I swapped to Domination, which felt more fitting for my alpha male nature. So stupid. All jokes aside, this made a huge difference on the quality of gameplay. Domination differs from the base game mode because instead of just fighting each other, you actually have an objective. It's the difference between rage baiting someone and debating them. Your goal is to take control of these yellow dominators and add them to your own team. The first team to control all of the dominators wins. You understand? Good, because it doesn't really matter that much. That's not the only change to the gameplay though. For one, you level up way quicker, which not only means you get to explore the different upgrade paths, but it means that once you die, you're not out of the game forever. You can quickly level back up and start fighting again. I hated free-for-all because it took forever to level up. And then when you inevitably die, you just have to start all over again. It was a vicious cycle of hope and despair. So yeah, long story short, Domination was way more fun and honestly became maybe my favorite game on this list. Diep offers a ton of upgrade paths for your cannon, and as a kid I remember this is one of my favorite parts about it, and it kind of follows a sensible progression too. Deep, where you have 1 gun, you get 2 guns, you get 4 guns, you get 8 guns. So you kind of get to pick what playstyle you want to do. And the variety is really something. You shoot a range of small bullets to very large bullets, lots of bullets, or no bullets at all. Sounded like a Dr. Seuss poem. 1 shot, 2 shot, red shot, blue shot. In this round of Domination, I upgraded mainly my bullet stats, like damage and then reload speed, then upgraded my tank to have a crap ton of front-facing guns. It was working pretty solidly, and we got really close to taking over this blue Dominator, but we got overwhelmed. I lost my life to this spineless dweeb here, swore my revenge right then and there that I would kill him the exact way he killed me. Yeah, so that's one of the other most common upgrade paths is upgrading your HP, speed, and body damage, and then cosplaying a cannonball. I'm morally against this playstyle, and you should be too. After that death, I tried a few other upgrade paths before dying in the most unceremonious way possible at the very end of the game. But regardless, Red pulled through, and we won that round. Most likely because of my pivotal and only kill against the blue team. I tried another round where I became a tank that shoots out other smaller spinning tanks, but I felt kind of bad, like giving birth and then immediately loading the baby into a mortar. I valiantly fought through my guilty conscience and achieved nothing before dying. We lost that round. Anyway, the verdict is Dip is fun to play only on the extra game modes, which I realize there's a few other ones they cycle daily. But playing free-for-all felt like grinding my teeth. It takes long, it's grindy, and by the end of it, I still feel pain. But the other game modes are awesome, and I found myself coming back to this one pretty often. So I give it a awesome tanks 2 out of 10. Well, that just happened. There's 5.io games that I enjoyed to varying degrees. Do with that information what you will. I've actually got another 5.io games I'd like to talk about at some point. So if that's something you'd enjoy, I'm gonna do it anyway. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. Also, tell Rutabaga he's super funny.